Hey everyone, I'm going to tell you about the reading strategy that I did first with my classroom, and it was the go-to strategy number 8, which was the jigsaw reading. And basically what I did is I kind of explained what they were going to be doing and modeled how it would look, and then I separated all of the kids into small groups, including my EL kids, which I kind of scattered them throughout the different groups in the classroom. And so I saw that there was a lot of collaboration and that everybody was doing something, which is good because when you have just one person reading, you have that accountability issue with some kids. Are they following along? Are they understanding? So this is great that they all had the opportunity to read and find out what their little section was about individually, and then reconvene with their group and discuss. What I did find, though, that was a negative was there was still like an accountability issue with the kids. Some were taking notes and really tried their best, while some of the other kids kind of scanned through it and really didn't know what was going on. In addition to that, some of the things that I would change in the future with this strategy would be to, obviously with my ELs, maybe have them as a small group and with me and model it a little bit more, so that it's more teacher directed, at least with those kids for the first few times. Also, the jigsaw activity that they did was a social studies activity, which I actually took a class prior to getting my master's, which went over Common Core ELA, and I know how to pretty much assess complexity of texts. And social studies is really complex. It's actually written for like middle school, high school level for social studies. So probably not the best thing to have them try to jigsaw read as well. So just some things that I'm definitely going to have to fix for next time for the reading portion. So the go-to strategy for writing that I decided to use was number 2, dialogue journals. Something I've done before in the past, but not this year, so I thought it was a good go-to bring back and see what was going on with it and how the kids did. And so it was an independent activity. Everybody did get to share if they felt like sharing, which was great. So I already kind of do like a discussion meeting type of reflection, but it's just talking. It's not writing. So this was a different way to see what the kids were capable of doing, which was good. And so there was a lot of positives within the fact that sometimes kids, when they're talking out loud, they don't want to share as much as maybe they would if they were writing it down. So I felt like I got to know some kids a little bit better that maybe wouldn't typically speak out in a normal discussion time. Some of the prompts, like for instance, we went to the Waste Management Recycling Center in Grays Lake, and what I thought was really beneficial is I got to find out what they learned and kind of check their understanding on what they learned about being at that field trip, which was super informational. And it was more like it was in writing instead of just talking about it. So I got to see, my ELs, what they took from it, and I thought that was really beneficial as well. I don't know if I would really change anything. I think that it's a great way for you to get feedback and positive, comments and reflections and maybe really check for understanding by using the strategy. But I guess if anything is that the kids should still have that time where they can discuss and have that verbal exposure instead of just with writing, to make sure that these kids are confident verbally too. So I guess if anything, it's just to make sure that I mix it up between the two and be consistent. So in our ESL Teaching Principles for Success book by Freeman and Freeman, I found a section on language objectives on page 101 that I thought tied in pretty well with, I guess, more of my reflections on what I would do next time with my reading and writing go-to strategies. And so it was talking about content objectives, and the question is asked, what language, forms, and functions will my students need to discuss, read, and write about this content? The teacher may choose 1 or 2 aspects of language to teach. Language forms can refer to different things such as verb endings, comparative forms, possessives, types of questions, punctuation, or descriptive adjectives and adverbs. Students use language forms to carry out functions such as summarizing, describing, explaining, or comparing and contrasting. So it just kind of made me think of, the next time that I do the jigsaw strategy for reading and the dialogue journals for writing, that I could focus in on certain language components and strategies with these kids to ensure that they're using them correctly. So, instead of making it just a personal reflection for a writing assessment in a journal, I could ask them to make sure they're using descriptive adjectives to assess if that's going on in their writing. In addition, when I'm talking about, considering the reading aspect, could they compare and contrast with other group members what they have read, or could they explain in depth what they read? So these are definitely good strategies to use with those go-to strategies in the future.